Hey guys, so today's gonna be a story video. As the description says, it's gonna be about how I almost got kicked out of school. Now, if you guys didn't know, during high school I went to a all boys private school, located somewhere because I ain't gonna tell you. Um, but yeah, located somewhere, and basically during high school I wasn't like a bad person. Like, I wasn't, like out to get people or out to just like be a jerk, like in general. But I wasn't like, a shining person, like the best person in the world. And I believe it was 11th grade, and me and a couple uh man, this story. But me and a couple friends were we were already kind of in trouble. We weren't in the best of situations, especially since it went from like 5th grade up, and you had a lot of the teachers that you had in 5th grade up during also in like high school and stuff. So the teachers knew a lot about me and what I did. And during 8th grade, I lit off a smoke bomb in the bathroom. It wasn't like an actual bomb. It was just like this little smoke grenade type thing. It just spewed a little bit of smoke, kind of like one of those little Halloween things or whatever. It wasn't too much of a big deal, but that wasn't a great thing. And then going into high school, I wasn't like the most careful driver, and I kind of dicked around in the kind of just in the parking lot and stuff, and the teachers were not like the most thrilled, I guess you could say, with me. So around coming around to 11th grade, me and my bright idea decided, hey, let's bring a taser into school. Now, it was just these little junky tasers that you could bring from buy off of Amazon for like 20-15 bucks. So a couple of friends and I were just having fun with it in the parking lot. The teachers were like, hey, stop that. And we were like, okay. And then I think it was me. I went up and I fake tased one of my friends. He was like, oh, whatever. And the teacher was like, all right, I'm taking this away now. And we were like, okay. And nothing really happened after that, but a couple days after that, I was in trouble. I think I was in school suspension for something. It might have been for the taser. And basically where I got in school suspension, I had to sit near this teacher's desk. And it was the same teacher that took away the taser. So me and my bright idea decided to look inside that taser, and lo and behold, look inside the desk, and lo and behold, there was the taser and all of its glory, just chilling there, waiting to be used or waiting to be taken. And I look at it, and I said to myself, I shouldn't take this, but I kind of want it back because I paid good money for it. Now, it was $20, so I shouldn't have really, just been too hung up on it. I should have just been like, whatever, I'll just buy myself another one. But I was like, no, I want this. This is mine. Can't take that shit from me. And pretty much, I took it. I grabbed it. And I didn't think anything of it the next day. So I had this like gut feeling that they just knew, or he would find out. And I think a day passed, and all of a sudden you see I get a call. I get a call from my teacher. Now the teacher I had, he was actually a really awesome guy. He was probably one of the best teachers I've ever had. And so when we would go on like field trips or stuff like that, he would give us his cell phone number, because he would let us go off and do our own thing during our free time during those trips. So he calls me at night. It was probably around 6-7 o'clock at night, and he's like, hey. And I'm like, hi. He's like, hey, so the taser's been missing. I noticed the taser was missing. Would you know anything about that? And my heart drops. It just sinks. It goes down into, like, to the bottom of the ocean. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so screwed, because they might have mentioned earlier that they couldn't really, have me be doing this type of stuff anymore, or they might have to, have me removed. And I was not, I couldn't really do something. It was like, so yeah, so we noticed it's been missing. Do you know anything about this? And I was like, no, I don't know anything about this. Is there any way I can help? Because, that's how I'm going to do it. So he was just like, yeah, if there's anything you can do to help, that'd be awesome. Thanks a lot. And I'll be like, yeah, I'll ask around. I'll call some friends right now, and I'll see what I can find out. And he was just like, okay, awesome, that's great. Thanks so much. I'll be looking at the cameras, but if you find out who did it earlier, that would save me a ton of time. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just realized that there was a camera in that office. I did not think there was a camera, but then I remembered that there was a camera in the corner of that office. So then I was just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I'm calling. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to do something about this. What do I do? So I was sitting there for like a few minutes, and I'm like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna call up one of my best friends and be like, hey, I need your help. I need you to take the fall for this. And he's just like, dude, no, fuck that. I ain't taking the fall for that. Because his parents were kind of strict. I was cool with his parents. His parents were cool. But he was just like, nah, man, I ain't taking the fucking fall for that. And I was just like, oh, dude, that sucks, man. I might be kicked out. And he's like, yeah, I don't really know what to do. And he was just like, hey, remember that guy that you bailed out really hard the other week? And I was just like, oh yeah, I do. And he was another friend of mine. He was cool. So we were all like, yeah, we might be able to get him to maybe take the fall for us. And all the while I'm speaking, I have this taser in my hand. I'm staring down at it. This is my fate. This is where I die. So I was just like, well, here's do or die. So I call up my buddy. And I'm like, hey. And he's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, so remember that taser? Because he remembered the taser because during lunch I tasered him as fun because he wanted to feel like what it felt to be tasered. He was like, oh yeah, dude, sucks you got taken away. I was like, I got it back. He was like, oh really, what? Cool. And I was like, no, that's not cool, man. The teacher, he knows, man. He was just like, what, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, you're gonna get kicked out. And I'm like, hey man, I gotta ask you something. He's like, what? Like, he knew what was coming. I was like, yo, I need you to take the fall for this. He's like, dude, what the fuck? You want me to take the fall for this? And I'm like, yeah. Remember when you got wasted at school and I dragged your ass around school when you were wasted and got you through the whole day without a teacher catching you or your family catching you? And he was just like, yeah, dude, that was, you saved my neck there. And I was just like, hey, you got to do the same for me this time, man. And he was just like, all right. And I was just like, bet. So he was like, all right, how are we going to do this? I was like, well, I have the taser. And the teacher called me. He was like, all right. I was like, so the teacher said that I got and I told the teacher I would help him find the people because he's looking at the cameras right now, and I got you to take. So we got to figure this out before he looks at the cameras and figures out that it was actually me that took it, and instead of like you taking the fall for me. It was like, all right, how are we gonna do this? So we talked about it for a little bit, and we decided on that I was gonna call the teacher back and tell him that I found the person, another student that he liked also. But we weren't the best guys, but we weren't bad guys. You know, you know what I'm saying. But he was just like, yeah, okay. So I call him up and I'm like, hey, I found, let's call him Josh. Let's call him my friend Josh. And I was like, hey, I called and Josh said he did it and he's really sorry, and that he would give it back to you tomorrow in the morning. And he was just like, thank you very much. You saved me a ton of time looking through those cameras. I'll definitely take care of this later on. It was a good thing you weren't the one that took it. I'm like, yeah, good thing it wasn't. Good thing it took it, like sweat beating down my face. I'm like, oh my gosh, I dodged a major bullet there. My family would have killed me if I got kicked out. So yeah, I was just like, so I called my friend back. I'm like, hey, Josh. That's not his real name, but I'm gonna call him Josh. Hey, Josh. I figured out. I figured out something. So he said he's wants the taser back in the morning. My friend's like, yo, how are we gonna do this, man? You have it. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I got a plan. Don't worry, man. He was like, all right, tell me. And I was just like, all right. So I'm gonna make sure. So this is when we were all driving, so we could coordinate when we got there. So I was like, all right, man. I'm gonna get there around so and so time, and make sure that you park next to me so I can hand you off the taser. So in the morning when he comes, you get the taser. And so it was like I never even had it. I was like, all right, cool. And so we were like, all right. Morning comes. I hand my friend off the taser. He gives it back to teacher. Teacher comes to me. He's like, all right, hey, thanks again for definitely doing this. Helped out a lot. And I was just like, yeah, no problem. Anything for you. More like anything for me. I can't be kicked out of school. And I was just like, you know what? I gotta do something, you know. I gotta do something for my friends. So like I was just like, all right, I'm gonna take you out to lunch or whatever. So our friend gets in trouble. I think he only gets like a little bit of suspension. Well, we also did kind of like punishments. So we didn't have buses. We had vans. So our van, I think he had to clean it or something, clean all the vans or something, and they were dirty as fuck. So I helped him out a little bit. Helped him with some of his punishments and stuff, because, you know, even though I helped him a ton with his getting him drunk out of school without really getting caught, which is a story for another time, but while I did that, I still wanted to help him out. So help him out, everything gets solved, everything's hunky-dory, and I never got caught. I'm not saying you should ever do this. I had a I got really lucky with my friend for me bailing him out earlier on, but I still say if a teacher ever takes anything away, never try to take it back without asking. And actually to this day, I think the teacher still has the taser in his desk. I never asked him, but yeah, to this day, I think the teacher has the taser in his desk. But that's pretty much the story. Moral of the story: don't take stuff that teachers have taken away, or you could get in a lot of trouble. Because that's no good. And don't, do the right thing at first. Don't take tasers into school, kids. Don't do that. Bad things will happen. But no, on a serious note, thank you all. Y'all helped me a ton. Y'all are some great people. Appreciate you all. And that's going to end this video. Thank you all for watching. And you all have a wonderful rest of your day.